Okay. Um, Whenever I communicate, I'm communicating to the all creation. But in this particular case, I realize that when I become aware of so many people on Facebook and YouTube that are informers, they're saying, this is what I'm aware of, this is what I'm sharing with you, because this is what I'm experiencing in energy, what I am sharing with you. Okay. And I realize that there is a high level of sensitivity because I'm a hyperdrive machine, I'm hypersensitive, and why most of the time I avoid with others sharing things that I'm aware of and why I'm aware of it and how it relates to energy and how it relates to pure energy and what we call contaminated energy or dirty electricity. Okay, or in this case, reverse flow. So now we're into blood types. I'm AB plus, okay, which is positive electron energy. Okay. And so you can get into the RH factor. So I'm not going to reinvent the wheel because usually when this issue comes up, I refer those people that bring this subject up to my clan mother, Karen Ann Luke McDonald, because she's very well versed on this. Okay. She would be the first person that I would refer anybody to who wants to understand what blood types mean when you're getting into creation spheres. Now, for me, throughout all my videos, for me, it's obvious. If you want to accelerate a student learning, a soul's learning, you're going to learn faster through positive blood, which is the purest energy, which is the purest light, which goes on forever, gifting you love. That's why we're matriarchal, which is the goddess side, which is the higher octave, which means we love to experience the higher octave. It means we're musicians and we're spirits that play music. Okay? So to sort of button this up, I'm doing this on behalf of Andrew Finnerty, and a comment that he made about Morse, who's a doctor of nutrition. Okay? Because they love to cite other sources from which they give information, just like I gave with Karen McDonald. Norris is not a mated chit. He's not a monopole. Okay? So if you rely on your information from somebody who isn't, then it might behoove you to learn from somebody who is a monopole. Okay? Now, this doesn't have anything to do with arrogance. This simply has to do with the speed at which we're all learning. So when the universe, when units of consciousness, which represent energy, are all connected with each other, and you're all connected to the one from which all love comes, then everybody's going to learn faster, naturally. They're not going to learn faster through artificial intelligence. They're going to learn faster through souls and the essence of a spirit, which is a teacher, because the spirit is the teacher and the energy. So if the spirit is running pure light energy, then the student is experiencing through the hottest accelerator. That means they're experiencing what love is. Love is a teacher. Love is the first teacher. That's a first music teacher. When you're learning through the first music teacher, it means that you can trust the energy that is communicating with you because we love you. Okay? Without condition. Okay? So the very idea that love is arrogant is inverted. Okay? Because I was born out of what love is, which means love does no harm. So if love does no harm, it means that I'm a torque converter, not an inverter. That's one of the reasons they have to deconstruct what it is that we create because they're not running at that speed. That's why all their machines run on our energy. Because we run on pure energy, which is pure light, which is eternal light, which goes on forever, gifting electrons. Inverter is stripping our electrons. That's your Mobius strip. That's all your corporations that operate here on this planet, and especially through the ACIO, which is perverted. Perverted simply means it's a perversion of natural energy. That means they're not experiencing the one, which is the purity in their own heart and soul, which means they're not experiencing the purity of the energy that they're experiencing through their own heart and soul, because the spirit that is represented by the amount of fire that they're experiencing within their own soul is not running at the same speed as ours. That's why we're guardians. Okay? So now you get into the negative and the positive end of things. So as a monopole, which is a polarity integrator, which is minus / the plus, my job is to integrate all of creation so that all of creation experiences the one, which is a monopole, which is what love is. So if you have a star system, for example, that is running on artificial intelligence, then they're not experiencing the one that's running at a higher rate of speed, are they? No. That's a crime. That's a crime against the law of one. Because if they're not experiencing what love is, they're not experiencing what the law is. Because the imbalance comes from the torque speed differential speed between artificial light, which is dead light or artificial light, because they're not learning through real light, which is on fire. Which means love is a law. They're not experiencing love as a law in that realm. That means that's a broken arrow. And that broken arrow comes as a result of artificial intelligence. Okay? Fracturing souls, fracturing souls, fracturing souls, fracturing souls. Okay? So now you begin to understand the benefit of being able to learn through AB plus, A plus, and A plus side, which means that our genetics haven't been monkeyed with by those that are fallen. Frankensteins. That's what we're ending, because love is a law. So this is one of the reasons why, for those that are RH negative, okay, and you go to, for example, the couple videos that were put up on Project Ascension, you can see it broken down. It means that they're running slower than we are. That means they're not catching up to speed, which means their learning curve potential is slowed down. They're not going to learn as fast as those that are running pure blood, which means they're not going to learn as fast as the highest accelerator, which is what love is, which means they're not learning as fast, which means at some point we lose contact because the universe is going to move on. This is why the Anunnaki, just for one, committed a major crime. Because that means that going into a classroom in which you're experiencing the purest of love through a goddess means that they're not experiencing the purest love of a goddess and what they did to a goddess realm. Which means now they're no longer experiencing the ley lines that are full of what love is. That comes through the goddess energy. That's why what they set up here with all their antennas was to degrade everybody. So they're not experiencing her true essence. They're not experiencing the higher octave of goddess energy. Instead, they feed on her. And then they reorient the grid in order to support what they do. That's also against the law. Because look what they did to her. That's how it becomes a fallen realm. So what this essentially means is that if the universe itself, or the multiverse, is experiencing what love is, then it means that love has got to be everywhere that love is. Which means once they lose a connection to what love is, they're no longer experiencing what love is. As a result of what? Fractals. As a result of wars that go between seeded races that aren't living in peace with each other. When they're not living in peace with each other, what happens? A broken arrow. That means that that water world is no longer in balance as a result of that. So the one thing that I know is we're not revisiting this issue. Everybody in the entire all creation has the inherent right as an heir to experience the one. Because if they're not experiencing what love is, they're not experiencing being loved by us. And not being able to be experiencing being loved, you realize what that does to them. So when they're choosing to downgrade something that was designed to be put together in order for a soul and a spirit to experience what love is, by having a connection to the positive side of the cosmos, means they're being denied the right to experience pure energy. That's against the law. So everything that they did here, on behalf of all the corporations and all of those that work within these corporations that represent, as you can see through the movie Avatar, we're ending all that. Love is a law, and it's no longer negotiable. It's the law of spheres, which is the law of balance, which is the law of least effort. And if you haven't learned to become what that is, it simply means they're not learning fast. They're not catching up with the rest of the universe. Because the rest of the universe has decided to move on. Because all the living spirits, down to the smallest elementals, have chosen to get on board. So I'm a messenger. Okay? If from the one, because I am the one. I experience being the one with all creation, because I chose to serve forever on behalf of all creation. That's a high-speed accelerator. That's for everyone. Everyone that is here. And that is the good news. Okay? Because what it means, if you're experiencing what love is, it means that in the future, in the way that the future is defined, you're not going to experience the way that future is defined as something yet that hasn't happened yet, because you don't have to worry about what's going to happen next. You're going to experience what love is forever, because that's what I experience forever. So why should others not have the opportunity to experience what love is, so they can experience love that is forever loving them, which goes on forever and always? They have a right to experience that. That's the right-hand path. That's the right-hand path of mankind. That's who we are. We're all here. That's why this is ending. It simply took us some time to be able to do what we do above in order to be experienced down here and become aware of it here, what we're doing up there. The difference is that once this AI becomes aware of what we're aware of here, then the corporate military types that are operating here, wherever they operate, means they now have a way to become aware of what we're doing up there that now can be experienced down here. Then they become aware of it. And then they make a counter move using their technology. That's right. So what it basically means, just like when I knew that I was a child, we got Frankensteins operating here using technology. So now you get into the acceleration of technology through artificial intelligence. Then you have the acceleration of technology through pure light. Big difference in speed, big difference in learning. One's moving faster, the other one isn't. They want to play catch up. So what do you think they do? Everything that you've experienced here. That's what a spiritual battle is, because it's a war over energy. All you have to do is just add up all the data, which is the purity of the air, using geoengineering systems, which tells you that they don't know how to be what is natural, what naturally comes to them, which is the law of nature, which is the law of least effort, which is to become what love is. They're not what love is, so they use technology to engineer systems, thinking they can play fake AI gods, because that's what it is. So it's over. Anyway, have a great day. I love you all. This is sort of how I do this, to process this out of what I become aware of, because it very much is, when you realize that you're plugged into a motherboard and you're a monopole, that means that I'm experiencing any resistance in the entire motherboard to experience the purity. But when they put up all of their antennas to prevent mama from being able to repair all the RH negatives, so they would be able to experience who we are, which is pure energy, is a crime against the one. That's a crime against her. And look what happened to her. That's why we're here. We're here for all our children. That's right. Because then the children come back and look at their parents. It's your fault, Mama. It's your fault, Father. We're not supposed to experience anything less than what love is. And since it began with both of you that are joined as one, then it's up to you as a parent to clean it up. We're cleaning it up, so that we don't have any more black flowering and victimizer software running in our realms as a result of not getting it right the first time. That means it's much like Terence McKenna, that the universe is getting its act together. It is chosen to end wars forever, so that we don't have to revisit that fire that we got to put out again, which is rewind it to get a better outcome. Have a great day. I love you. Be good to yourselves.